how did you get to New York City?
I just want to say first, great couch. And that's one of the problems of doing audio only is they will never know.
Thank you.
And I knew if I didn't get that out of the way immediately, I was going to come up when we were way too deep into something like my childhood or whatever. And I'd be like, I'm sorry, but
I'm sitting on a pillow.
Pause on what my parents did to me. Yeah. I'm sitting on, it's just one of those great couches. Anyway, it's a lot of different textures, different texture. And the other good thing about couches, like the throw pillows, you have like choice. Did you pick this out yourself?
I did.
Okay. Yeah. I'm always impressed with people that can pick out the right things for themselves.
It's rare, but it happens.
It's rare with me. I mean, yeah. But people can do it. Yeah. Would you ask me?
How'd you get to New York?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I went, let's see. I was in DC. I was like pretending to be a journalist. And I saw some people from UCB come do a show. This was like 2004, 5, 6 maybe. Yeah. And they were incredible. And it was their touring company. Bobby Moynihan was one of the people. I remember Brian Husky. And they're so funny. And I was like, I had already been doing improv a little bit in DC, but I was like, I got to get to New York. Like that's where I need to be, where those people are. And so I basically moved here without a job or anything, like as fast as I could get my money together and like find a place. Yeah. And that was 2006.
You pretended to be a journalist.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You picked up on that. Yeah, my parents so I went to a liberal arts college.
Yeah.
And it's so funny thinking about it now. Cause like my mom basically I was so uninterested in doing anything after high school. And so my mom really had to kick my ass to be like, fill out an application, like go somewhere else now, like leave. So anyway, so I go to a liberal arts college, which they really encouraged me to go to, but then they got obsessed with me having like a real job, which is like, well, then don't send me to a liberal arts college. But one of the things, they were like, you like to write and journalism is a job, like a job that will pay you to write. So they encouraged me to do that. So I like did some journalism stuff in it wasn't even really a major there, but I did get on the school paper. And wrote some groundbreaking stuff for that about this was like right around the time when Facebook it was like a year before Facebook came out, and there must have been a guy on every college campus that was doing inferior version of Facebook. Yeah. And so this guy on our campus figured, like, he put one together for the campus, and then it turned out it was something like if you found out somebody's student ID number, you could basically hack their whole account, like very easy on it. And so I wrote this expose. I was like, that's the story of the year. And so I wrote this huge journalistic, just thinking I was so important, piece on it. And anyway, so then, but my parents were right, it turned out, like from having like experience with journalism in at college, I was able to get this job in DC. I am remembering now when I do podcasts that I quickly forget what the question was. And that's so yeah, feel free to like rein me in.
Well, did you write any other exposés in DC?
In DC? No, I did not. I mean, what did I? Well, so it was a weird program. It was a public television show.
Okay.
About how it would take like whatever was topical, and then it would see how it was affecting like religious communities in the country. Like that was its specific angle. And so I'm just trying to jog my own memory. This is why I bring that up. I don't think we really did. I don't think so. Did I? No, I can't remember anything right now. I mean, what I do remember is like, one of the things I remember is like, we just did a story about like the Sikh community.
Yeah.
And I knew nothing about the Sikhs. And I think it was because it was close to right after 9/11. And there was a lot of like confusion. I mean, like so many people thought Sikhs were Muslims.
Yeah.
And because Sikhs wear like head coverings and things like and like that. Like they were getting a lot of hate.
Yeah.
And so my boss was like, we got to just do a story and like educate people on who they are. And it was incredible. We went to like a Sikh service, and they always like, they're big on like, a lot of food. Like I just remember the food. This is why I was a bad journalist. The thing I took away from the Sikhs was they eat really good food. So yeah.
So you see this UCB performance, and are you immediately like, that's me? I got to go do that.
Yeah. Yeah. For like maybe the only time in my life, I was like, that's me. Yeah. And it felt like that's what was missing. And like, it's so, yeah. Anyway, I mean, it's just the truth. So I went and, I just knew. And I almost literally dropped everything to go do it. I had done some improv in high school. Weirdly, we had some of it in our high school.
Yeah.
And, but then not in college. There wasn't any in college. And I was just I just didn't really know I knew I didn't like journalism, but I had no intention of like, I had done acting in high school, and, I was like writing a lot in college, like short stories and fiction. But, anyway, when I saw that, I was just like, that's because they were just so funny. And it was just something about it was something about like adults looking in each other in the eye and like being absolutely ridiculous, but also is this cool combination. And this is like what at least old UCB maybe still is, but like used to be, of like this combination of like being absolute idiots, but also playing like being really smart,
yeah,
like, top of your intelligence, but with the dumbest subject matter. And there's just something about that made me so happy. And I think also because the country felt so heavy at the time, like it was right after 9/11, some of the things that we were doing as a country just felt, I mean, maybe you could always say that, but anyway, it just felt like a heavy time. And so it was like the one place I felt like, I just could not take my things so seriously or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So you get here, you quit your job. It sounds like you don't have a job when you get here. What do you do?
I told them later that I had quit. Yeah. I moved here, and then I kept being like, I'll be back next week in DC. I was like calling my boss being like, I'm almost back. And then I just kept staying here. And finally she was like, we have to fire you. Like, you can't do this. I think, anyway, I remember like I had all these jokes written on my computer at work, and it was kind of the only thing I had on my computer at work. And so I knew they were, because I had seen other people leave, I knew they were going to turn off my key card at some point. So the first thing I did when I got back to DC was like rush to the office to get in there and erase my, like, I don't know why I thought I would still be in trouble, but I just didn't want them to know I had like done nothing at work. But anyway. Again, what did you ask me?
So what did you do? You get to New York.
So I got to New York. Yeah. So I started off, I was a production assistant, like I was PAing on films. The first one I worked on was, that movie, Wet Hot American Summer?
Yes.
At all?
Yeah.
So the directors of that, they made, I think it was his next movie, David Wayne, made a movie called The 10, which was not received well at all, but it was a comedy that, anyway, I got a PA job on that. I like knew somebody who knew somebody, and it felt at first like, oh my God, I'm already getting into like the business, but then it's a miserable job. Like you basically stand on a street corner and you try to keep people out of the shot, or you try to tell the crew like when it's time to eat. And it's just like a bunch of like errands you're running all the time. But anyway, but that was my first job when I got here. And then from there I kind of kept doing small, like, odd jobs. And
are those PA jobs typically relatively easy to get?
I mean, yeah, I would say it seems like it. It's kind of like when you're doing it, you're like, oh, anybody can get this job. Like, but I mean, it's also fun. It's like, it's a wild crew of people. I've never had a job at a restaurant. Like I've never waited tables, but my friends who tell me about it, it sounds very similar. It's just such a cast of characters that like do the job for all these different reasons. Like some people are like very much there to like get into entertain the business and they want to direct and they're like doing all this stuff. And then other people are like, no one else will take me. Like this is where like I don't have any other options. and it's like those are the two extremes. But yeah, once you get in with people, I can't remember. I mean, I just knew somebody who knew somebody. I don't know how it works now, but anyway, that's how I got it. Yeah.
What was next? I guess you take this job with the idea that it'll hopefully help pay the bills while you go pursue improv.
Yes. Yeah. And so that, I mean, New York was immediately, I was in over my head with like the bills and everything. Like, and so it was rough. But I kind of worked I got this job. I think the next job I got, I was like, so the hours we would work were insane. You know, I mean, I remember like a 17-hour day once, you know, which when you're just sitting around doing nothing, and this was before smartphones too. I mean,
yeah.
So in some ways was nice. Like you were forced to get to know each other for better or worse. But yeah, I did that for a while. But at some point I was like, I can't keep doing this. And looking back now, I actually only did it for like a month and a half, maybe 2 months, but it felt like years of my life because it was all I did. You would like, anyway. So then I got, the very next thing I tried out was being one of those guys. If you're those people in Times Square that sell tickets,
sure.
They're like, hey, you want to see a stand-up show? Hey, Dave Chappelle's going to be there. Like I was one of those guys. That lasted also you make no money doing that. Then I was a receptionist for a photo studio. That was more fun. But also, yeah, not much money, long hours. Then I tested toys at this company for a while, just like a lot of jobs like that until basically I got in at UCB and I was eventually able to do a combination of like teaching there. And then also I started doing commercials and I was able to start booking commercials pretty early on. So then I finally got some, but the whole time, yeah, it was about like, I need to get cast at UCB. I want to be on a team there. I want to do shows there. So yeah.
How did you do that? How did you get in there? What's that story?
You just got to take the classes and this was in 2007, but yeah, I had to start at 101 and you just had to get the money together to pay for classes. And so I did that. And then basically after you'd gotten through like 4 levels, then you were allowed to start auditioning for the teams. So I auditioned a couple times and then I eventually got put on a team. And yeah, and then it was just, I got really lucky. I was put on a really funny team right away. And that ended up being we ended up being moved to like the weekend. Basically the ultimate thing that it used to be at UCB was like, you get to be a team that has a show on the weekend every single night, like every single Saturday night is what we got. And then we did that show for 9 years and it was like the greatest. It was the greatest education. Like it was everything that I had wanted to that's why I came to New York. So it was great.
What percentage roughly of the people that take those classes end up being on a team?
I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, it must be small.
Less than half.
Oh yeah.
Way less.
Sure. Yeah. Although one thing they did UCB really made an effort to do was keep adding teams. Like they added a whole theater at one point and then they just kept adding like opportunities to perform. And so they did end up expanding it a lot, but the system when I got there was like a low percentage. And I think it kind of it just had to, I mean, there's only so much time and stage, but yeah, but it's a low percentage, I think I would guess.
Talk to me about getting the dream. I mean, it sounds like this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Doing that work.
So yeah, I got the call I missed the call and then I called back and the artistic director told me he was going to put me on this team. And then, after I got off the phone, I was like, I was not thankful enough to him. Like I immediately was like, he doesn't understand how much this means to me. And so I wrote him a ridiculous email about like how happy I was. And I think he could tell I was, like going into mania or something. But anyway, he was just like, yeah, man, no, you seemed happy. And then I put on the song White Unicorn by Wolfmother and I just fucking danced as hard as I could in my apartment like all afternoon. And it was so relieving too. I mean, it was both like, yeah, it was just relieving because it was like, this is why I came here. And anyway, if I didn't do it, I'd be real sad, and I didn't really know what else to do. But yeah. And then a whole nother thing started of just like, okay, well now I got to do it. And now, yeah, then the whole next chapter starts of like, well, now you got to, now let's see you pull it off. Like, let's see you be part of a team and everything. But yeah.
So from the day you step foot in New York to you getting that role is how long?
That took, it wasn't actually as long as it felt. It was like 2.5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I want to say maybe 3, but yeah, it wasn't too long. But at the time, just because every single day you're like, God, like, when is this going to happen? And oh man, I have to take these classes. And I'd actually even started to like, I don't know, just get a little worried. I had started to pull away a little bit and try to make sure I was doing other stuff. So I was in a play. When I got cast, I was in a play.
Whoa.
A very off-Broadway production of Chekhov's called Ivanov, which is not one of the more popular ones. Huh. But I was like this character that like ate pickles all the time, like, which I loved. Yeah, anyway. And they let me like improvise in the play, which is so funny looking back now, because it was like Russian, like a serious Russian play, but I don't know, they just knew I liked to do it, and they thought it was funny when I did it. So, and the other thing I had to do was the character at the end of the play, turn it off, fast forward now, if you don't want to know what happens to Ivanov, shoots himself in the head. And so I because I was like, I wasn't on stage, I would shoot a gun off stage. Yeah. And the gun did not work well. And so there was more than one night where it was like the end of the play, the dramatic moment. He would lift the gun to his head, and then he would pull the trigger, and then you would just hear me you just hear like in the back, just me trying to get a round off. And it just the most anticlimactic way to end the play. And then he would still have to, whatever happened, he would still have to collapse on the ground. And then the gun would go off like a minute later. And I would be like, yes. You just hear somebody like, oh, yeah. But yeah, anyway.
Once you got on the Saturday night team, is that you still have to work part-time to support yourself? How does that work just financially for you? Getting that role is obviously a big deal work-wise, but how did it affect the rest of your life?
Yeah, I had to, so teaching and teaching improv was a huge part of my income. Yeah. And then commercials also. Like I was just, and you hear people say it all the time that do this, but it's like feast or famine. Like, yeah. The commercials would be a big bump. Like when I could book those. And every once in a while I'd book a big one. Like I was like the spokesperson for Transitions Lenses, like for like a year or two. And it was like this crazy infomercial they had me do that would air at like 4 a.m. And like my friends who would be traveling sometimes would be like, dude, I'm in a hotel right now. I couldn't sleep. I turned the TV on. You're driving a van. It was in Texas. It was in Austin where you used to live. And they shot it in August. And the whole crew was from Austin, and they were like, nobody shoots in August in Austin. This is insane. And I would be outside trying to interview people, and you can see it was low budget, but I don't think any amount of budget would have changed this. You could see the sweat just pouring down my face as I'm like, so what do you think about what are your associations with Transitions Lenses? And then I would have to try to convince people that they transitioned faster now. Like that was the big sell, was like, how they used to take forever? You would walk inside and the sunglasses part wouldn't go away for like minutes and you looked like a serial killer. Now that only takes like 90 seconds. Anyway, that was like the big push they were trying to do. But so yeah, I would make money doing stuff like that. Yeah.
How did you get into commercials? How did that opportunity come about?
UCB would send us auditions that they would get. Like UCB was known as like a place where there was a lot of like new talent. Yeah. And so, yeah, tons of casting. They still do it. Tons of casting directors would send notices there. So, yeah, I would get it. That's how I started. That's how I had to start without an agent or anything. And then, yeah, that's how I would find out. Yeah.
that pipeline to UCB is primarily for commercials, or is it also a ton of other opportunities for work?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, yeah, there's so much opportunity through UCB. Like, at least that was my experience. Like they offered a lot. Especially for people that just, weren't represented yet. Cause like, that's how most entertainers, find out about things, is like already having an agent and manager. But if you don't have that, like, so UCB kind of acted as that. And that's definitely not why I got in. I mean, I was like only about like the improv, but really to a fault almost. Like I didn't care maybe enough in retrospect about like, but I don't know I don't care. Like I was having so much fun. It was so relieving to be around like people, like-minded people.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, they would send a lot of stuff. Like one of the biggest things I got through there was as an SNL like audition.
Wow.
Yeah. Which was awesome.
Huh.
That showcase was at UCB. Yeah. And that was great. Yeah.
Of all the paid opportunities that sort of come to the UCB communities, are commercials the most lucrative? Are other opportunities they pay better and are regarded as a better opportunity?
I mean, they definitely, every kind of opportunity goes there. Yeah. Like commercials aren't literally people are leaving there with like, you get looked at by everybody in the entertainment business. I think it's still this way. Again, this was the way when I was, so like, yeah, people are going from there to like write for SNL, perform on SNL, any number of shows. I mean, all these are dated now, but like, people were getting jobs at 30 Rock, that show, Parks and Rec, like, I mean, writing for everything, just what it could write for, even just like the Oscars or like an award show like that. My buddy, a friend of mine writes for Weekend Update now. He got that through UCB. That's, you at least get looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have your sights on something beyond UCB, or were you just happy to be there?
I mean, I feel stupid saying this, but I was kind of just happy to be there. Yeah. Like, I mean, I just didn't know anything like that existed. Like, it just was so, like, I just loved being there. I loved like that theater and performing there. And like, anyway, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I had my, like, I did get to do a bunch of cool stuff, and like, like I got to do Broad City, like that show, and Alternatino was another show I got to do. And I got to audition for a lot of great stuff. But yeah, I guess, I'm older now, so there is part of me now that's like, why aren't you more like, why don't you hustle or whatever? This is how bad I am at it. I don't even know how to talk about having a career. Like, why didn't you grind yourself? Is that how you talk about getting jobs? But yeah, I mean, the one that's like a good example is like, I never made my own website. Yeah. I think people still do that, even though way more people go to like Instagram now. But like back in the day, I was like, oh, you gotta have a website. And I'd always be like, no, I don't. I mean, I was just, I just was so much like it's only about UCB that I refused to even get a headshot for a long time. Yeah, I'm such a badass. I'm the bat boy of comedy.
You said you did it for 9 years. What did you love about it?
Oh yeah, so our weekend show we did for 9 years. I mean, when you do improv, there's like, I mean, there's more now in New York, like in a great way, more theaters now. But at the time there were like 3, and UCB got like the most consistent sellout crowds. And so when you do improv, like that's the thing, is like, how do you get the audiences? And so doing that show there for 9 years, we almost every week we sold that show out to like over 100, I want to say 120 maybe people. So getting to perform for that size of an audience is exhilarating.
I'm sure.
It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was huge. And then you get really good. I remember like when you start off the first couple of years, you're doing shows that are like maybe 75% students that are also at UCB, and then some other people too. But like, so there's kind of a, like it's almost like a more supportive audience in some ways. And they're also, some of the laughs are coming from like them being like, oh, I get what you're doing there. When you get a real audience, suddenly like they don't give a shit. They're just like, make me laugh.
Yeah.
And so I remember like some of those, the first several months of shows, it was like, I felt like, oh my God, like sink or swim, like all this like kind of intellectual kind of smarts I had about improv that, you know, because I'd done all the classes and everything like that. That went out the window, and I was just like, I felt like I was up there, like, yeah, da 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 da, yeah, da 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 da. Hey, look over here, like just trying anything, like just throwing my dignity out the window, just to get them to laugh at. I mean, it was so funny how desperate I suddenly felt, but that was fun too. I don't know. Anyway, but going through that together with a team, because we were all like this, like none of us had a show like that before. Like we all got brought up at the same time. And so we were in it together. And that's like something that I love too, is you like grow up together, like, and learn to perform for like real audiences together. And that was also really fun. And yeah, I don't know. It's just making people laugh. And I also love live performance because it's like very instant feedback on how you're actually doing.
Yeah.
So it keeps you honest, which I think is important. And like 1 week, you know, it's so funny. I'm still like this to this day. You have a good show and you're like, man, comedy is actually kind of easy. And then you bomb like the next day or whatever, then a week later and you're like, oh man. So it keeps you honest, which is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Was it basically the same team the whole 9 years, or are people always coming in and out?
It was I'm trying to remember I want to say, I don't know, the first 5, let's say, I don't remember the exact timeline, but it was mostly the same people, mostly the same 7 or 8 of us. And then slowly people kind of started like moved to LA. And so it did, by the end, I think there were 3 original members left. And then everyone else had like moved and started a family or moved to LA to pursue the career there. So it did change up a lot by the end, but yeah. And
at some point I assume you left. What happened?
Well, then the pandemic happened, but it was interesting because like the team had changed a lot by the end, and I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't sure where to go from there. And then almost like the world made the decision for me and just everything stopped. And then UCB got sold during the pandemic, and then everything's different there now, and they got rid of all the old teams, and so the decision was kind of made for me. But I was interested in like trying new stuff, and I started doing stand up a few years ago. That's how and what was your question?
The departure from UCB. I didn't realize it was really caused by the pandemic.
Yeah.
That was
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wild. I mean, I remember that week. We were about to do a show. I had started to just hear a little bit about COVID.
Yeah.
Then I saw that basketball game where one team came onto the court and the other team didn't. And like an NBA game.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, one of the players has COVID, or there's a rumor one of the players has COVID, and so this team's not even going to take the court. And then I was like, oh, it felt like a scene you would see in like a disaster movie.
Yes.
Where it's like, this is the beginning of that movie. This is me watching this on TV. And then, yeah, I don't even remember what day that was, maybe a Wednesday. Our show was on Saturday. I think we found out Thursday or Friday, like they were just stopping shows. So, and then we just never did a show again. Yeah.
So that was it for you.
Yeah.
That was the end.
Yeah. I mean, as far as like that team and everything. Yeah. But yeah, I had another team. I've still been able to do improv like since then. And I've started doing even more recently again, which has been so great. I missed it. I missed it more than I thought I did. Yeah.
What was COVID like, given how abrupt that ending was for you?
It was very weird. I mean, I didn't mind the break, to be honest. Like, it felt like things had been happening so fast. Well, but then, I mean, I don't know. For me, it was also like utter uncertainty. I lived in this building with like I can't like 80, a big apartment building. And after a few months, like every single day, people were starting to move out. And all I did during COVID was take walks. I just took endless walks. And it was like, there was only so many walks I could take. But then fortunately, by the end of 2020, commercials came back. Oh, and I got this director who had happened to see one of my shows, and he's a huge commercial director. He started casting me in these big commercials because he also was an improviser back in the day. And so by the end of 2020, the end of that first year of COVID, I actually started getting all these big jobs that I had never gotten before in commercials. And so that was great. But yeah. But,
did you stay in New York during the pandemic?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah. Did you?
I wasn't here yet. I was still in Texas.
Did you? What was Texas like? So I shot something in Florida, and there was no pandemic there.
That's the way Texas was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I would come up here.
Yeah.
My brother was here, and I would visit, and it was like going to another planet.
Yeah. I shot this commercial in Miami Beach, and I walked through I was so used to New York.
Yeah.
Like anywhere you go, you're wearing a mask, like indoors. And so I walk through, I come off the beach, I walk through a bar, I put the mask on. There is one man in this entire bar. It was like in the middle of the day. One man. And he goes, he was like, take your mask off. And like, what blew me away was like, he had no backup. Like he was by himself and he still felt that way about it. He was like, I'm the only person here to stop this fucking guy from wearing a mask. I mean, that's the other thing I don't get is like people being threatened. Well, whatever. I don't know. We don't need to go into that on this podcast maybe, but it just was crazy. Anyway, but that's when I realized like, yeah, this is a different country, different planet. Yeah.
As the world started to open up again in 2021, did you know you were going to go into stand-up? What did you do with your career?
I had always wanted to, so I have a friend of mine, Rory Scovel, who's like done. Yeah. So he is somebody that has blended improv and stand up so well. And I've always wanted to do that as well, but I don't know. So somewhere around 2021, I started to like get that feeling back, especially because the theaters, I don't remember when the theaters started really opening up again, but it just felt like, well, I'm definitely not going to have a show every Saturday night again anytime soon. So why don't I give this a shot, like, and try this out? So yeah, I started like, I can't remember when I actually started doing stand-up. Was it 2020? It might have been 2023. It might have taken that long. Because I also got kind of lazy during the pandemic, to be honest. I was booking commercials. It was going really well. I was having fun doing that. And then just traveling, and like some friends got married and just took some vacations. So I got kind of lazy but around 2023, I started to get the itch again of like performing. And stand-up is trying to do stand-up with like improvised stand-up, like really, I started to feel that pull a lot. Yeah.
How does Rory do that? Blending the two. What does that look like?
I mean, I think from what he just does it, and he's just done it for a long time. And I think because, I mean, I don't know of anybody that really, like, I guess you could say like some huge, like Robin Williams would kind of, it seems like, do that kind of stuff from what I've seen. But like even his stuff was a little bit more shticky. Like he would kind of, I don't know. I think Rory literally just had to do it. He also did do improv, like on teams. Like I knew him from DC when we were both on teams there. Yeah, I think he just taught himself as far as I can tell. Yeah.
And you wanted to do something similar?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm interested in that. Yeah.
How did you envision that looking like for you? How were you thinking about giving your little twist on that presentation?
I mean, what I've found is that it's like something that happened in improv that I started to find was like, you just commit to what's going on and these voices start coming out of you, like characters start coming out of you. And if you like really say yes to what's going on.
Mm.
And so how do you do that when there are no other people on stage with you
Yeah.
giving you the context to commit to something?
Mm.
Like you kind of have to set yourself up. But I know like the twist, I used to worry about like what's my thing a little, you know, and like what I've found is like, and what I think like really good performers do is like, they don't worry about that. They just do it.
Yeah.
And they commit to it.
Yeah.
And that thing that's down, like that's we don't control, that's like subconscious or whatever, like maybe collective unconscious. Like I know anything about that. It comes out though. I've experienced it. Like it comes out. And like by the end of improv, like I would have people could kind of spot like, I don't know if they were really full blown developed character, but they would kind of spot like, oh, this is what Tim's like when he's like, it's so funny. This guy, Will Hines, I don't know if
I don't know.
He's like an improv master guru. He's one of my teachers, great guy out in LA. But he told me, Tim, you always either played the most masculine characters or the most feminine characters. Then he's like, there's almost no in between with you. And I thought I kind of took it as a compliment because I was like, I don't know. I know it's fun for me to play more extreme, you know, that character. But anyway, yeah, kind of clownish characters. But
how did you try to go? Because I don't think you had a big history in stand-up. How did you try to break into that scene in New York?
Well, so it was weird. In 2015, I did start doing stand-up a little bit, but I was so lazy about it. And so, I mean, especially now that I see what it really takes and I've been doing, I mean, it's like, you really got to do it daily and you're always working. And I was doing it very sporadically. And by the end of a year, I had 90 seconds that worked. And I really rode that 90 seconds. And I used it as part of my SNL audition. And then but it was because it did work, but then I had to quickly pivot to some other stuff. But anyway, what was the question?
How did you, in 2023, when you started trying to break into the stand-up world?
So yeah,
how did you even begin?
Open mics.
Okay.
And I literally was like, it was very humbling, but also I kind of enjoyed it because I was like, it was like when it felt like when I started improv, which is like, all right, I'm going to go to these open mics, which are not fun. And it's a lot of people trying to get better from the ground up.
Yeah.
And so it was, there were kind of two ways I could have approached it. I could have either done that, or I could have gone to like my friends who are very successful and be like, hey, could I like start doing your shows? And I'm so glad I resisted the urge to do that because I was no good. I'm still not great. I'm like I would say I can like hold my own, but like I just wasn't fully ready. Although I think it's also good to have friends who see you because they're like, you're doing better than you think you are. I can be way too critical and get in my head, but yeah, so that is the way I did it. I went to mics and I just started, and I was going to mics like all the time and started getting to do shows a little bit. I did some competitions, and the great thing about doing it that way is that I've made friends.
Yeah.
Like I get to make friends. They're all half my age.
Yeah.
Which is also, it's, to me, it's really funny, but it can be, it can be an insecurity for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
where are the open mic spots that I don't know if you remember the names, but like for people that might listen to this that want to break in, if they're trying to start out, where did you go? Where would you recommend?
I mean, the one I went to a lot, one of the ones I went to a lot in Manhattan is the Greenwich Comedy Club. It's called the Drew and Peter mic.
Okay.
Drew Tessier is this, he's a comic who performs at Greenwich and all over. He's great. And he runs some of the mics there. And that was a great one. He's really supportive and he's really helpful. He's a good guy. He's like a really good guy. And so he helped me a lot. And that was one I went to a lot, and I met a lot of the guys that became my friends. And another one that I've been going to more, they always are changing too, is another thing.
Yeah.
Another one I like that I have been going to more recently is at Flophouse.
Yeah.
Which is, that's a good club. It seems like, I actually haven't done a show there yet, but yeah, great mics are run there, and I've started doing those more, and it's closer to where I live. That's another good one. But yeah, you just kind of got to go especially the first year. I just went everywhere. I just was doing and like, and my friend suggested that, you just kind of got to do that.
Yeah.
You got to get your name, you got to let a lot of people see you, and you just got to get used to like, digging in and doing a little bit every day. And I think that's the harder thing. That's a really hard thing to do, is like progress is I think for almost everybody. I'm sure there's some freaks out there, but like it's slow. Like I would get so disappointed in myself if I didn't come up with like a whole new joke every day. And then I finally had guys be like, whoa, no, like one of the best guys, Eric Walsh, who you had on, he was like, man, if I come up with like a good line or two a week, like that, I'm happy with that. Like something that genuinely works with an audience.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, do I even want to do this if it's like that? Because I'm coming from improv too. And I'm both coming from improv where everything is kind of instantaneous, and also from improv, something I've done for so long that I'm at a place where I'm good at it. To go back to where I'm not good anymore was, it was again humbling, but I don't know. I also just like being around comics. Even as I say that, I'm like, is that true? Yeah, no, it is. I do. I like being around comics.
Yeah.
Like, I fit in there.
You talked about the instant feedback of comedy. I mean, to me, that's one of the things I love as just a fan of these people are really putting themselves out there, and they're going to get instant feedback from the people who are watching them. Is that how you can tell you're getting better primarily? Like the feedback is better, or how do you know you're improving?
That.
Okay.
I mean, to me, the laughs. Like, you want to, it's about the laughs. I mean, it's so funny. Like if not the laughs, I mean, the most artsy I want to get about this is like, at least you have their attention. But that's not, I mean, even that's not always a good thing. So like, but yeah, no, it's, the laughs. I mean, it's so funny. I taught a class once, and I was like answering questions at the end. And I remember this student was like, so when you're on stage, are you conscious of whether or not people are laughing? And I was like, yeah, I mean, what? But I think I get what was going on. Like in that, when you get into like an improv school or sketch, like comedy school of any kind, it can get real academic. And so like you kind of forget what you're doing there in the first place when you're just only in a class and you're getting all these notes all the time. But I mean, the big one is for sure the laughs. Yeah.
You've used the word lazy a few times. How do you feel about your effort, your output right now with what you're trying to do? Has that been curbed?
Well, it's so weird. So I think like, to me, lazy has to actually be a part of it, because one thing that I did with stand-up is like, early on, like I got way too locked into the writing of it. And it ended up choking the life out of like some of the jokes. So I think there is this element of like, you gotta stay loose somehow and like have a life and like hang out. But I mean, my output is, I don't know, man. I will never know how to measure that, because it's like, sometimes it's like I just did this podcast that my friends did, and they threw the clip up, and it's doing really well. And I'm like, okay, well, we barely did anything for that. Like, or like, that also happened with like an Instagram sketch I did. Like it was so funny too, because I think it was literally the first sketch I ever did. Got like 1 million. Actually, my friend Brian reposted it again. I think the second time I got 18 million views and like 1 million likes. We spent like 2 hours on that total.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, all right, well, it's so, I mean, but I mean, also you could say like, well, I had like, there were years of like shows behind that for me.
Yeah.
But it is, output is an interesting thing. I don't know. I do think like getting more into the Instagram game, or trying to lately, the people that really do it, I mean, they kind of are crazy with the output, because you kind of always have to be putting something out, and I can see it driving some people crazy.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I don't know, but if you love it, like I mean, with improv, and also with stand-up. But I mean, especially with improv, it was not hard for me I wanted to do it every day. Like, especially when I was new, it was an obsession. And like, so, I mean, to me, the output just happened because it was like, I loved it.
The energy was there.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And now sometimes, I mean, the energy's back for me now, like with the stand-up and the improv, but I did just get a little bit, I don't know, maybe I had gotten burned out without realizing it, but I had just gotten a little bit fat and happy, like during the pandemic and older, I guess. But anyway, I don't know.
If we talked in 2 or 3 years from now, what do you hope, if there is any direction of where you might like to be working, the kind of venues you want to be at? What does success look like to you in the next few years?
I mean, it would be amazing to do theaters with like both like a small improv group that I had of like friends, and then also like solo stuff that is like stand up, like the improvised stand up stuff. Like that's what I would love to be doing. And then, you know, also I like doing podcasts. And I would love, I mean, I think it's also part of the thing now. Like, you kind of are on all these platforms. So like, I would also like to have a podcast. I guess, I don't know. It might be, I would, I mean, but yeah, the live performance is still what I love.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's the main thing I think of when I'm like, where do I want to be? It's like touring some kind of show at theaters, you know, around the country, / world. Yeah.
You just mentioned Instagram, and I've talked to a few guests recently about the positives and negatives of that platform. I'd love to hear what you think about it. I mean, I would guess, I think you just said this, like, it's the live performances that are the most thrilling.
Yeah.
What do you think about the need in many cases to have a digital footprint, to put time and energy into Instagram? Obviously, like 18 million views is fucking insane.
Yeah.
What do you think? How do you think about that?
Can I tell you something? I just thought of how funny it would be if I got up off this couch and it had actually destroyed my back. Like, because I'm so comfortable right now. And like, I was like, it'd be funny if this is actually really horrible for my back. And I have to like hobble out of here. Anyway, it's hard to ignore this couch. What'd you say? I heard digital footprint, and I was like, that's such a cool image. Wait, what'd you say about
Instagram in general? Like, is it more a blessing, more a curse? Is it annoying the hell out of you? What do you think?
I think it is. I don't think, okay. So as a performer, I think the danger for me, and I think I can see it in other people too, is that you always feel in an actually unhealthy way that you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
And so you got to get on some sort of routine where you're like, I'm going to do one a week, one sketch a week or whatever, one clip a week or a day. And that's going to be it. And that's enough. And I think people are sorting that out now. Like, what is enough? I think that's getting sorted out. But I also, what's weird about it is it feels to me also like it moves so fast, like what's in and what's out, and like what's working and what's not. And especially with the numbers right there on everything, I think that kind of kills experimentation in a way. I would get, I mean, I know it does for me. Like, I put out a sketch with a guy recently and like it did fine and we loved it, you know, and I think it is really funny. And I had so many people that I don't even know that well be like, that was so funny. Like, that would see me, you know, that I know in real life, loved it. But then, you know, there's this party that's like, but it didn't do 18 million. So should I be alive even? Like, so, yeah, I mean, I think your expectations and perspective on all of that can get really warped. And because the attention is like, you feel like you got to have it so bad, maybe like, I don't know, you just start, I don't know. Yeah. And I can also see it detracting from putting time into like doing more involved like work. I don't know, you know, like actual shows or like long form, I guess they call it now. So That said, though, I think it's an amazing thing too. Like the good side of it is like you don't have to wait to be discovered and picked and chosen by, you know, whatever.
The powers that be.
Yeah, exactly. You can actually put out anything you want.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, if you decide like, fuck it, I am experimental and I don't care about the numbers, you can do that. Like you can absolutely do that. And then you can sit there and see it has like 6 views and be like, I am fine with this. I can handle this. Actually, what the worst thing is when it's like, this has 400,000 views and there's 2 likes. I mean, you got to be cool with that. You'd be like, so a lot of people have seen this, like weirdly a lot, and nobody likes it. But yeah.
For people that don't know the improv world in New York nearly as well as you do, who are the legends here that people that you've worked with, you've seen, that live in New York, that you just admire their talent? They're so fucking good at this.
I mean, there are many.
Yeah.
And the names, I don't know the younger people as well right now. I mean, there's a team that I've been coaching called Pie Town, which is really good. There's so like, I don't know, Abra Tabak is like really good. I don't even know if how much she still does it, but she's so funny. Aaron Jackson, who, I mean, he now had like, he and Josh Sharp are both really funny. They have a movie that came out, not long ago. You know, I mean, Connor Ratliff is always a legend. I don't know if, do you know him?
I know that name.
Yeah, you would definitely probably know. He's got a podcast called Dead Eyes that's done really well. I mean, he's pretty popular at this point. He's incredible. James Casada is doing stuff at Grove 34 right now. He just started doing it. And I did a show with him not long ago. He's doing some interesting, like really funny stuff. Who else do I? It's like, so I panic when people ask me about this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't want to miss anybody. And I also don't want to say somebody that's not that good.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Who else? Let me think. Oh, I mean, Sebastian Canelli's great. He's amazing. I just did a show with him and Molly Thomas, and Ryan Haney. We did a college show at the College of New Jersey, which was really fun. Those are always fun, college shows, because you're like working with the college improv team.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just fun. Like, there's just so much joy in like a college improv team. Yeah. And also it depends on the college. Sometimes they are weirdly like cool kids, but like usually not. Like, I don't know, usually, but like some of them they're not, and they're just doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
And it's so, it's so heartwarming, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just nice.
How about stand-ups? I know you've been in that world for the last few years. Who
Max Fine is somebody who's like, I love him. And David Marco, they do a podcast called Sandwich Tuesdays. They're both really funny, and they do a show. They just did it last night. I went. They have a huge live show they do called Goon to a Goblin, and it's at their house. They have a huge patio with like a porch, and so they just do the show on the porch and put up folding chairs everywhere. And they had like 100 people there last night. It was awesome. Yeah. Eric Walsh you had on, of course. Brian Elberg, Max Chavez. These are some good people. Anna Koppelman, she's really funny. Caroline Haynes is really funny. Yeah. I mean, I'm just getting to know some of the people there, but yeah, it's kind of cool to get to experience, like, again, like starting something like this when I'm older.
I bet.
And like just seeing, like, I mean, I hope I never talk like this around them, but they are like 15 to sometimes 20 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to be like, oh, there's like still kids like doing this, you know, like, and just seeing them at the beginning of their career is just like, it's just awesome. I guess it just reminds me of like when I was younger, so I get all like choked up about it, but like, yeah, it's cool. And it just makes me, I mean, I don't know. There's this thing that happens, I guess, I'm starting to experience it, and I know I've seen other old people getting older experience it, where you're just like worried about the youth, and you're like, oh my God, I was the last kid that's ever gonna have like hope and like know how to do art or something. You're like, yep, our generation was the last one. Everything's ruined now. So it's just like nice to be like, no, you fucking idiot. Like, yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I'd love to close with a question. And this is a good segue with.
I wish you had said prayer. And you're like, these mics actually don't work, Tim. And you're holding, if you just take the top off that mic, there's some holy water inside.
Just douse it on your face.
Yeah.
What advice would you give somebody just starting out? I mean, what have you learned about the comedy world, particularly for people that are just moving to this city, that you think is good for them to consider? I bet you get asked this question a decent amount. What is good advice? What have you learned?
I mean, you just do it. Like, and if you really have that thing, like, you will do it. You almost don't have to be told. I feel like, but like, okay, more specifically, like, don't, my problem, especially with stand up, I tried to plan too much. I tried to write too much. I tried to have it all perfect before I went in there. And improv too, you know, I tried to be too, I guess, yeah, anyway, don't try to be too perfect. You learn by doing it, you know? You got a lot to, like, more than anything, just do it. That's how you find your voice and everything. Like, don't try to walk in there and pretend you're already fully formed or whatever. And I would say also, like, it's about like, I mean, not to get too, I don't even know what the word is, like idealistic or whatever, but like, it really is about the people that you become friends with and like work with along the way, even in stand up.
Yeah.
You know, like, so like go to the people that like make you feel good about what you're doing, you know, and like are like encouraging you and like, and, you know, in comedy, there's a lot of like taking like roasting each other, like taking the piss out of each other or whatever. But like, I think that's it did not feel natural coming out of me saying taking the piss. All I thought of was like literally someone taking your piss from you. But, so don't, anyway, but yeah, you know, like, just, that's another big thing about getting out there and like just doing it, is like meeting other people, like making friends. If I have one message, it's to make friends. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I don't know if I have any, you know, everybody feels kind of desperate. Everybody thinks they're not doing enough or making the right moves or whatever, but and also it takes time. Like, it just takes time. I think and I've told some of my friends, like younger friends, this that do stand up now, like, because I saw it in improv, is like, there are rare cases where people right out of the gate like get picked up and they're like blast off with this career or whatever. But like, for the most part, like, you all are rising at the same time, and it just takes time. And as long as you keep doing it, like, the opportunities will come, like, things will happen, you know? So don't beat yourself up because you're not, you know, famous yet, or like, you know, have an hour special out yet or whatever, you know, like, yeah, it takes some time. Cause I always used to think like I'm not, like, if I just was better at like talking, like networking, or, you know, whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
Like, I would have like some whatever, but I don't know. I found that like honestly, my friends were the ones that gave me opportunities. We gave each other opportunities along the way. Yeah. Stay hydrated. It's another big one.
Some good advice.
Yeah.
Tim, this is great. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Fun. Yeah.